I'm assuming that you can hear me. So I'm Mary, and I imagine y'all are here to learn about fic binding. Um, I am also the mod. I've been the mod for the other panels that you've seen on Twitch, and I hate being in front of the camera. So as you can see, I am not in front of the camera. um, so I was originally going to start with doing some, or demonstrating some typesetting and showing y'all how I get things off of AO3, but then I found out on Thursday that my computer was not going to participate in that. It did not want me to open Affinity and StreamYard and Twitch all at the same time. So I'm just going to have to explain it and give y'all some links, and hopefully you'll be able to um, kind of do what the rest of us have done, which is figure out how to do it on your own, how it best works for you. Not everyone uses the same way. Some people use Word, some people use other programs. I use Affinity, like I mentioned. It's really kind of an individual process, finding out what best works for you, what best fits your budget. You can do this on a really low budget. Affinity, I believe when I got it on sale, I think it was like $25, and that's a permanent license, and it kind of works like Publisher. They have a suite that's a lot like Photoshop, and they're all pretty inexpensive. So I'm just going to kind of start with some of the books that I've already done. Oh no, yeah, it was chugging, and I did not want to risk having my computer crash in the middle of the panel. So I don't know. I think my Instagram has been posted in a couple of different places under Serpent's Nest Press, all one word. So these are some of the books that I've done before, just so you can get kind of an idea. I do mainly work in this size, so half of a sheet of letter size paper. And I work mainly just hardcover. Let me see. Yeah, here's a couple that I've done. You may recognize these fics, you may not. These are just some of the ones that I've really enjoyed, and that's why I wanted to make them. So I do every step of them. Let me see. Here's some other ones that I do. I have so many that I haven't posted or sent to anybody. Yeah, this is the stack of my quarter letter size books. So yeah, it's like a quarter of a size of letter paper. Let me just get some of those. And if you have specific ideas, if you want to see them, actually, who did this one? Okay, this is one of Astalot's. So if you enjoy AO3, this is one of the people that started AO3. So it's all, I don't know, it's all typeset. Choose the fonts, choose the images, get everything in order. I just kind of based it off of books that I've seen, based off different examples. I didn't really have a template or anything when I started. I just kind of made one. And like I mentioned, there are a lot of us are sharing references if you're interested. And by all means, the way that I do it is not the way that everyone has to do it. It's not even the way that probably most people do it. I just have a background in book preservation, so this is how I was taught to make books. So yeah, but I think fic finding is really interesting because it lets you, I guess, kind of interpret the works in a different way. Of course, you always go through and read fan fiction, and you give people kudos, you leave comments, you bookmark it. But then at some point, I decided that wasn't enough for me. So I wanted to have it. And actually, here, I'll show you the first, because I was trained how to make books, and I thought about doing bookbinding. And I guess when I was a little kid, I would print out stories. Some of my friends would print out fan fiction, and we'd staple it together and carry it around at school and trade it amongst each other and hope that no one caught us with this extremely questionable shit in our backpack. But kind of taking that to the next level. Like, I'm an adult now. I can do what I want. I can print out fan fiction and bind it and put it on my shelf if I want. So, this is the one that I knew even before I had even realized fic binding was a thing. Um, it was something that I wanted to do. Like, I read it and I liked it so much that I wanted to have a physical copy of it. Um, it's Paradoa ad Astra by the Life of M. Um, and I had, from the very beginning, I had an image of what it was going to look like in my head. So yeah, so I finally did it. And the cover is gold foil on fake leather. It's dusty because of my desk. But yeah, this was a process. This went through like 3 or 4 different iterations before I finally like fixed it enough to print. And that's one of the things that you'll discover as you if you start on your fic binding journey. You will always print something with errors in it. Like, it will always have errors. You will find it while probably once you've glued the cover on, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, let me look at my brand new fan, and there's some shit that's misspelled, or there's a page that's missing a page number, and you're just like, oh, okay, on the next time. Always, it's always gonna happen. I mean, you find that stuff in like professionally published books also. We're humans, so we're gonna make mistakes. Um, so let me see if anybody has any questions about those. I'm just gonna take a drink real fast. Oh yeah, I'm just like looking on top of my press for have all these books stacked up. Like I said, I mentioned I mainly work in those 2 sizes. It depends on the length of the fic. Let me just glance real fast at how long this one is. This one is 135,000 words, so it's gonna be substantial enough to make a book that's this thick, and this is the thickest book that I've made. Um, some of these, let me look at handgrade. Oh yeah, this one. I had a lot of fun with the cover. If you don't know about it, it's about migraines. So it's got this kind of. If you've ever had a migraine aura, this is what it made me think of. And the cover or the end sheet is this like obnoxious holographic like. I wanted myself to feel vaguely uncomfortable when I looked at the end sheet. So that's what I went for. I ordered like 3 or 4 different holographic papers to find out which one was like the most obnoxious. Let me see. Yeah, this one is yeah, 220,000 words. So really it depends on the size of the font that you use, how compact it is. If there's things like really short sentences, or if there's things like letters formatted in there, depending on how you work with those, um, it can change the size of the book. And then these I think are probably closer to like 60,000. Things about half that. Yeah, this is 18,000, and so it's not nothing, but it really just depends on how many pages it'll end up being, like how thick I want this book to be in my hand. I could definitely, let me see, I have this one that's a little, yeah, this one. This one's a little thicker. And it's 31,000 words. So it really depends on how you want the book to feel in your hand. And I mean, it's a completely personal preference. I don't like to have these half letter size books be too thin. I think that just feels wrong to my hand. But, it's up to you. This is a little journal that I have for recording the different fics that I'm binding. It's pretty thin, but again, it's not something that I'm going to be reading. Let me see. Yeah, and sorry, all of that to get back to the fact that I have these even smaller books that I've made. These I kind of threw together maybe in a couple of hours with some scraps that I had around, but I think because it was such a short story, I actually threw this one in as a bonus for a different author copy that I had made. For this author, actually, I made this book. So to explain that, Um, so a lot of people who do fic finding have different theories on, how involved, how much they want to involve the author, whether they want to involve the author at all. If it, is something, I mean, if they're printing something for themselves, you can kind of, the thought is like, for me at least, like do whatever, because who's going to know about it if you none of this is for sale. So nobody is going to profit off of this. So it really doesn't matter if I just, like in high school, just print something off and staple it together for me to like read while I'm in bed so I don't have to stare at my phone. Um, it's kind of the same idea. So if I'm not planning on like handing them out or whatever, um, I can do whatever. But a lot of the reason that I do this is to show appreciation because I really like these works. So a lot of times, especially recently, now that I've kind of gotten over my initial fear of it, is to reach out to the authors and say, "Hey, I really liked your fic. I'd really like to bind it and send you a copy." And I'm at a point in my life where I am fine doing that. Like I can afford to do that, so why not? And it's really just like, I mean, it's kind of like if someone was an artist and wanted to draw fan art of a fanfic. Um, I, as an author, have received fan art for my fanfic, I think once, twice. And I was like, I lost my mind. It was amazing. So, and then that's kind of the reception that I've got. Um, I know some people have been like, well, I don't really have space for it. But then when I showed them, they were like, oh, okay, no, I kind of want that. So I really enjoy kind of being able to give to these authors who have put so much of their time in creating the story that I really enjoyed so much that I want to print it out and show it to people. Um, so yeah, so that's what I did for this one. I made two. This is um, some marble paper that I got on a trip to Italy. I needed to do something with it. Um, I had a lot of fun with like the design, making this like coffee shop stand. So I did make two copies, and so that's what I mean by an author copy. And there's actually there's a bookbinding or fan binding Discord that I'm in, Renegade Publishing, Renegade Bindery, and it's like a kind of like a loose association of people who are doing the same thing, sharing resources, sharing tips, um, and we can post. There you go. She posted the link for me. So and I include that when I'm reaching out to authors to kind of go, here's what I'm doing in case you've never heard of this, and because I really don't want to give the impression that like maybe I'm taking their work to like, I don't know, bind it traditionally and sell it to a bunch of people and then they don't make any money off of it, which would really suck, which I would hate. So just kind of giving them the idea of what I'm doing, because you can see a lot of people do this, so they can see some examples. um so yeah, I sent this one, and I think while I was binding this one, they did this little short fic for Valentine's Day, some kind of Valentine's Day event. And I thought it was really cute. And so I used this little scrap, which was barely big enough to make my copy and the author copy, um, and just did this little tiny book. And then there was another one that I read, which is not long enough to make a full book out of it. But I just kind of was struck with the idea because it's about this kind of like liminal space. Um, and I had some tracing paper that I had bought that I didn't know what I was going to do with. So I ended up making this. It looks like a little folder, and it wasn't necessarily intended to be read in this format because it's a little difficult. But I think I was trying to capture that like liminal feeling, so I printed it on tracing paper on my printer before I fixed the toner. So it's kind of like throwing little dots everywhere, which was kind of fine actually. So you can kind of see through, and all the text is kind of getting mixed up because it's not in any one place. And I thought that was a really cool idea. So I just had to, yeah, throw this together and just put it in the mail. And I think they were excited to get it. So, yeah, I'm not trained as a graphic designer. I was a theater major, did costume design. I do artsy things, but not in any necessarily like professional capacity. So, okay, um, so what I had planned, and I did talk to the author while I was thinking about it, um, because I talked about finding their book and kind of been going back and forth. Like, hey, I'm gonna do a demo. I'm just gonna use your fix if that's okay. So I didn't want to, I don't know, like at an author that wasn't expecting it. I don't know. I just thought that was polite. So yeah, so this book that I've been working on 5 ever that I've been trying to print. And let me tell you, printing is like the worst. So I have a laser printer that's got a duplexer. Um, I had to replace the toner because the toner cartridge was busted and it was just throwing ink dots everywhere, like I mentioned with the small book. I had to replace the fuser and the toner, but now it works, which is cool. I don't have to buy a new printer, but it doesn't print in color. And then I realized, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to print this book and I'm going to bind it on camera while people can see it. And actually, I'm going to start folding because it will take a while. So I started getting ready to print it. And I'm like, oh, okay, crap, this has color pages. And so I pulled out the pages because they're all in a PDF. There's an imposer, which basically puts all the pages of the PDF in the right order for the book. So you can't just print like 12, 13, 14. You have to, well, this middle does not help. You'll have to put them in order basically so you can fold them together into a signature. So I can't just go and know exactly which ones to print. So I had to pull out which pages, figure out which ones they were that had color images on them, and then save that PDF, bring it to FedEx office, try and print those pages. I brought my own paper with me. Of course, something about the PDF didn't work, and it was printing squares instead of some of the letters, but randomly, not on all the pages. So I had to print these pages like 3 times. And it took forever, and there was no air conditioning for some reason. And it was just the worst. It was annoying. So I'm probably just gonna have to buy a color printer. I used to print at my old work, and it was great, but I can't do that anymore. So yeah. So I guess I'll show you as I print them. I put a little post-it note after I print each signature so I can keep track of what pages I've printed already, because if you get them out of order, it's super obnoxious to get them back in order. And so yeah, so I had to print all the pages, and then some of them I couldn't salvage. One of them I think did okay. I printed back just fine. One I had to print on one side only and then run it through my printer at home to get the back on. And then I realized there was one character on one page that was a square. So I had to cut it and just tip it in. And it was, when I get to that page, I'll show you. It's super annoying. So that'll probably be that. I mean, that's just a general complaint. Like everyone complains about how shitty and annoying printers are. So I'm just gonna fold paper for like a million years. If there are questions, let me scroll up real quick and see if there's questions. Yeah, it would be really said, I love how you can use these unique design choices for these one-off designs, impossible for mass production. Yeah, because I can just make stuff how I want it to look, but if someone needs to, make it appeal to everyone, or I can use really specific like papers and stuff that would probably make it like prohibitively expensive to do in a large run. I mean, maybe not, but so when I'm folding the signatures, I generally print signatures of 7 sheets to keep it from being too let me see. So when you fold stuff, it's going to make this like point. I don't know if you can see. Probably not. Because full pages take up space, they'll push the inner ones out to a point just to kind of avoid it from being too rough and bumpy on the edge. And it's much easier to stitch through that many pages, I've noticed. So I usually 7 sheets per signature, and then I pull it in half to kind of fold it. And I don't press it to crease it super hard. Because I've noticed it, it's a little bit easier to sew little bit easier to punch holes, and the book just kind of like flows better if the pages are not creased super hard. Sorry. See, this is why we gotta have questions. So someone I've been wondering, what exactly are signatures? So signatures are the individual bundles of paper that makes up the book. So let me just show you the end here. So you can see on the spine these little sections of paper. And if I open it to one of them, if you open it to the middle, you can see the stitching. Yeah, I don't know if you can see super well, but in the middle, I mean, you can look at just books that are sewn. A lot of books are perfect bound, which means that it's just sheets of paper that are glued. And that's much easier for mass production, but it's not as, it doesn't stick around for as long, because, like old paperbacks, like the spines will snap and then you'll lose pages and you'll have two halves of a book because you were reading it too many times. But yeah, so the signatures are the sections of paper that are folded together and stitched together. And I do have to make sure to fold them in the right order. I have definitely, when I split this up, I have definitely like folded one the right way and folded the other. And then I had to like, I had glued it and I had to like unpick it and carefully yank the pages out because I had glued them in the wrong order. And if you join, if for whatever reason, like if you want to join the Renegade Binder server, and they're super nice in there, and it, yeah, it's super great. People are really helpful. They have like badges for messing up your book in different ways because everyone does it. Like glued it wrong or found a typo after completion. Or things like, who needs tools? Like, I mean, you can, like I have a press that we made that I asked someone to make for me. I bought the materials and they made it for me. But if you don't have a press, and I did not have a press for a long time, what I used was like a stack of books or like this box set. Like I love this book series and I really want to read this book series, but it's so like hefty. I can't bring myself to unwrap it and not use it as a book press. someday I'll stop doing that, but it's so like chunky. So yeah, you don't have to have like professional tools or anything. So like do I try and remove typos within the fic itself before binding? Yes. So my process, that's a good question. I forgot I was going to talk about that. So my process for harvesting fanfics is I will go to AO3 and download the HTML. You can download them like as a PDF or an EPUB or something, so you can read it on a different e-reader, not just your computer or your phone. I download the HTML and then I drop it into a Word document, and I will generally, my first step will be to make sure to replace all of the dashes and with like M dashes. And these are things that you'll get like really picky about, or not, but I know I did. You get really picky about like formatting things, making sure that your italics are in there correctly, making sure that I have a personal beef against like straight quotes. Like I want to use curly quotes when it comes to like fic. But I don't know. People have their preference about that. So well, I'll go through and I'll replace all of the characters and stuff as I need to. And I will also run like a spell check. I'll run spell check and go through and go, okay, no, this is a real name. Save that. Don't fix that. And just go through and see if there are any kind of like typos, because there's always typos. I always like I go read my fic and I'm like, shit, there's a typo, but I don't want to mess with all my formatting, so I leave it. until I'm on my computer. So I'll fix like little typos like that. I'm not going to go through. I'm not betaing their work. I'm not here to make it fancy for professional stuff. But you know what? I read it and enjoyed it so much the first time with all the typos that I was willing to print it and have it on my shelf. So you know what? If I miss stuff, whatever. Whatever. It's not that big of a deal. I read it and liked it the first time. Yeah, you can bind a fic in Comic Sans if you want. That is up to you. You can do whatever you want. Some people have specific fonts. I have specific fonts, and you can get fonts all over the place. And fonts is like a rabbit hole. I swear. Once you're like, oh hey, I'm gonna grab this font for this. No, you're sunk. You're gonna have like 800 fonts on your computer. That was the big problem. I was trying to have. I'll talk about Affinity in a second. Someone was asking about it. Like I was trying to open it and like trying to set up, delete old text. I'll reuse my layouts. So if I want to do something that's kind of like this kind of format, um, pretty simple, kind of like romance fiction, nothing too like sci-fi or whatever. So something pretty basic. I'll just reuse the format that I have, just delete all the text out of it, redo some of the settings. But I was trying to open my fonts to choose a new font, and it was like taking a million years to load. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm not doing this today. Either it can stay in this font, or I'm not gonna mess with it. Um, bind it. I'll bind my 100K fic and look at it with grief every day like a real author. Look, I have not bound my own fan fiction yet. That is in the future, maybe. But yeah, so what I do once it's in Word and I'll, fix all of the things. Um, I know HTML does some funky things, AO3 does some funky things with the formatting. So I'll make sure it's get it in Word and make sure that's all fine like that. I mean, you could put it somewhere else. Oh, I think someone put it in Google Docs. There was something else. There was something smart that someone did that I changed to recently, but I've only done it once, so I can't remember. I think it was in Google Docs. Anyway, because it stripped out some extra formatting. But anyway, I'll get it cleaned up and then I will dump it into Affinity, which is my typesetting design software. You can thank you. Um, like I mentioned before, you can get it. It's like it's just what I use. You don't have to use it. By all means, you can use other things. It's just I tried it and it made logical sense to my brain, and so I just went with it. It's like a layout software. You can do like magazines and I think it's kind of like Publisher. I don't remember exactly what it's like. I still have a little bit of a headache, so we're just gonna roll with it. Um, so it lets you, set here's all the body text needs to be this font and this size, or here's you can set like when I have my table of contents, like here I can format my table of contents a certain way, and I can format my info pages a certain way because I do like my colophon, but it's in the front, and I remember title page verso, whatever. With all my um, like the printing date, because okay, so I'm a librarian, so this is important to me. Things I expect to see in a book. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do me. Um, though I have had someone who was gifting me a fic, and they actually reached out to a librarian, like a public library, to ask what the call number would be for this specific fanfic. And I thought that was hilarious because they asked about it in the chat, and I was like, oh yeah, I agree. And then found out later it was for me, which is fantastic. Anyway. So yeah, so that's what I do with Affinity. And like I said, if you're interested in doing this, you can absolutely jump in the Discord and look at all of our reference material, things that people have written up. And you can always ask questions. You can always just at me in that Discord, and I will be pleasantly surprised to to answer questions for you. I'll probably talk to you too much. Because I tend to get carried away because I really like this. This is my jam. So yeah, so this is one of I forgot that this that this was in color, but I realized it wasn't in color enough for me to care. So it's in black and white. I don't want to have to go back and redo that one. Also, when I'm doing an author copy, I will make both. And whichever one has the most stupid, egregious errors, that's my copy, and I'll send the good copy to the author. So if you're watching this, whichever one of these looks nicer is yours. We'll see. I mean, I haven't, knock wood, I haven't made too many like ridiculous errors, but like the one that I had to like rip out the sheet, and it may have been that one that I kept showing y'all, where I had to rip out the pages because I like glued them in the wrong order. Yeah, that one. That one was my copy. Jeez. And I realized, I was like, this is going to take a million years. So I did it like a cooking show where I have the other one already typed. Yeah, I mean, you could bind that in Wingdings, do what you want. I'm not here to judge you. Yeah, and I mean, you can, when I have it in Affinity, like I have it in whatever font I feel like using, and I can just go into the settings and change the font for the whole thing. Like I don't have to highlight it. I can just change the font for that, I guess, type of text, and it will change it like over the whole document. So yeah. So there are some fonts. And I mean, if you can't decide what kind you want to use, I mean, Google has a lot of free fonts. You can find a lot. There's font aggregators that offer a lot of free fonts. Some people have their particular favorites. I think I used Sabon for this one. Oh, here's the bastard page. Okay, so this is the one. This bitch right here. So I tried to print it in color and have this side, like, okay, whatever, I'll print this side. And then I'll just bring it home and I'll print it on the back. And like this A, I think it was this A. It was just a square, and it was just like, no, I will not be able to stand that. If I see it, it will make me angry. So I did not. Make sure I put it in the right. So yeah, so I cut it in half and then I glued it to itself. Yeah, some hardbound books have uneven edges. Yeah, it's because of the signatures. Some people like some places leave it as like just like a texture thing, just an aesthetic thing. A lot of books are going to be trimmed after you make them, but I don't have a guillotine, which is just like a big fancy paper cutter that cuts straight down. And let me think, because you usually see like a paper cutter that's got the little handle that comes down that slices them, but you can't probably cut 300 pages without something shifting and getting stuck and just mangling the edge. So you can buy guillotines, and I'm sad every day that I can't go back to the place where I learned how to bind books, because they had a polar cutter, which is like but they have it like a print shop, which is just you put the paper in, you back it up, you step away, and you press the button, and it goes and cuts through as many pages as you want, and it's amazing. It's so smooth. It's beautiful. It's giving me some grief because I'm trying to fold the glued edge, but I don't care what you want. I want it to fold. Oh, that's gonna be annoying to punch through. Oh well. Hope it's being done. Should fold these faster because it takes like 1,000 years to like stitch paper. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, if y'all have any more questions. Do I browse Google for images, or have I also commissioned artists? Okay. So that's a good question. Depending on what I'm doing, there are a lot of free images available online. I will mainly, like the British Library has a Flickr that's got a bunch of like copyright-free images that they've scanned from different books that they have. I know New York Public Library has a collection. Their affinity is linked. I believe it's linked with Unsplash. It might not be anymore. There's a couple. It has a couple of like stock photo kind of things. You can look for stock photos. Anything. I mainly use the British Library Flickr, Heritage Images, I think. This one actually includes a couple of images that were made by the author, and one image that was a gift to the author, and I asked permission from that artist, and the other one was a commission by the author. So for this fic, what? Oh my god! So yeah, we covered kind of all the bases with this one because I also designed the cover, the title page, which I believe the background is from Raw Pixel. Yeah, it was a rights free image from Raw Pixel. And I do make, I do say where images come from in my title page verso like thing, which was really helpful because I actually decided to put page numbers on it this time, which was super helpful in finding what pages I had to replace. Thanks, past me. Let me see. So yeah, so kind of all of the above as far as commissioning artists. There is one that I'm working on that I actually reached out to the author several months ago. I designed a bunch of stuff for the inside of the book, but I really thought it would be really cool to have illustrations. So I am sort of in the process of deciding which images I want, and I have spoken to an artist briefly to kind of see if they might be interested. So I have considered commissioning art for a fic that I'm binding, not for me. Let me see. Thoughts on binding via sewing needles thread as opposed to gluing. I mean, I prefer hand binding books by sewing them. It's more approachable for me. I have done perfect binding before, but it's a huge pain in the butt because you have to, like I mentioned, you have to like guillotine all the pages straight before. I mean, I guess if I printed them, okay, yeah, no, I think I don't think I would personally do perfect binding. I mean, it's fine if other people want to do that, absolutely. Just because I've done it before and I know it's such a pain in the butt, I wouldn't want to do it again. Also, because I was about to explain why the paper would make it difficult to do that. So this paper that I'm using, you see how it's folding in a super neat little curve, like this nice sexy little curve here. That is because the grain of the paper is in a specific direction. So quick test if you're interested in finding out. So this is regular letter paper. The grain of the paper goes this way. That's just how it normally does when it's cut to this size, which means that if you fold it, showing my age here, if you fold it hot dog style, it folds really nice and has that little sexy curve. But if you fold it hamburger style, there's more tension to do that because you're folding against the grain. So, and it makes the crease kind of messy. It gives it this like wobbly edge. So what I do is I actually order 11 by 17 paper and I have it cut down to 8.5 by 11. And it's expensive to do that. It's kind of a pain in the butt. But it lasts for a while for me. So because of that, because of how I have to have my paper cut specifically, having it cut that way again, just to do perfect binding, yeah. But I also discovered that when I print, I only have to do that for letter size paper because this size of paper you can actually buy and I have bought it from Amazon, is statement size. I think it's A5 when it's like full size. You can buy statement size paper, and because it's cut down from this size, once it's cut in half, it is now grain short, which the grain runs this way, so you can fold it, and it's nice. So I guess that's a little tip. Yeah, most people don't get that involved in looking at paper grain, but that was something that I was taught when I was doing book preservation, because it does, make the paper last longer. It makes the pages fold in a much nicer curve. It makes it nicer to turn the page. I mean, if you don't have the money to, have all your paper cut in half, to cut it down, that's totally fine. And like, it's not super noticeable. I'm just picky. But yeah, people use just regular letter paper, and especially if you're just starting out, if you use regular letter paper, you can get a feel for like how much it bothers you. If it doesn't bother you, by all means, use, paper that costs $5. That's awesome. But I'm picky. Let me see. Oh, folding letters. Yes, you can stab someone with a bone folder if it's a new bone folder. Also, it's neat because bone folders, after you use them for a while, they take on this nice little curve. I mean, because they literally are made of like cattle bone or something. You can buy Teflon ones. A lot of people use Teflon bone folders or Teflon paper folders. Personal preference. I like bone folders. Let me see. Yeah, it is a pretty relaxing hobby when you're not finding the printer. When you're not fighting the printer. But the thing about it is I really enjoy doing the typesetting part. I enjoy doing that design stuff. So I have many more typeset files than I do printed files. It's kind of like having a million works in progress. I also have a million works in progress for my fanfic. um, let me see. Yeah, well, note of the wobbly edge thing. Yes, it is because of the grain. Let me see. Does Affinity take care of organizing the signatures and which pages to print in what order and which pages to print on the backs? Yes, it's called imposition. Affinity, as far as I know, does not have an imposition. It does not have an imposer in it. So, I think, I don't know. I have never played around with it that way, but I have I used Bookbinder 3.0, which was a free software. It basically just takes your PDF and just puts the pages in the right order, like magically. I don't have to think about it. But then one of the people in the Renegade Discord, who's super awesome, Coco, made their own imposer kind of based on that. And it lets you do I think up to like really, really tiny books, like 60 pages on a side of a letter size piece of paper. Like if you fold it like a postage stamp kind of book. So yeah, you can do all different, and there's all different settings, and yeah, it lets you play with it. Yes, Affinity's great. And yeah, I bought it on sale. It was $25 and I have it forever. And you get like updates. They update it like all the time. Yeah, that's why your newsletter is fought getting folded. Now you're gonna be like, I'm gonna be picky about paper. Let me see. Yep, okay. Oh yeah. How much time? Like 40 minutes? Cool. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna finish. Maybe if I can start sewing, then you can at least like see that. Because like I said, I did this like a cooking show. And I have a half-done book. Any other questions? While I frantically fold these papers. I know I am not going to finish sewing this one because it took me like an hour to do it last night and no one was talking to me. Yeah, it's very relaxing getting to do this with your hands. When I worked in the preservation lab, it was like the most fun I ever had at a job, because you got all that like that instant gratification of I've made a thing and now I can see that I've made the thing and it looks nice. And then because I was a student worker, I got to kind of mess around and make some fancy covers. Like I would do cutouts with the book cloth, and like there was, I think I started, there was a book on basket weaving and we were just repairing it like because the spine had torn off. And so I redid it and I put the title back on it, and then I just like cut little strips out of it and wove it together in the corner. And they were like, "Who did that?" And it was me, but I didn't get in trouble for it, so I kept doing it. What do I suggest for baby's first fic binding? I don't know. Pick a, I guess, what do you mean by that? Like pick a fan fiction that you like. Maybe to get started. Pick a fan fiction that you like that's not too long. I would say probably maybe around, depending on what size. Yeah, it really depends on what size you want. Probably 30. I would say 30 to 60K. If you read like multi-chapter fics or whatever. Sorry, I'm just like reading the comment. Yeah, I would pick something that's a little bit longer, but not too long, so you can kind of get a feel for, how you might want to do it. You can do it in Word. Word will let you impose things. I don't know, as long as you have a different imposer. The Coco's imposer, the one that they made, is free, and it's linked in the Discord, and I don't remember it's listed anywhere else. But yeah, so as long as you have a PDF that has all the pages in the right order. So I export from Affinity what we call a straight PDF, which is just like one page after another. It's not two up like this. It's just each individual page separately. And then the imposer will put them in order. So I think you can do that with, anything. Like if you can export a PDF with each page individually and you run it through the imposer, then you can print it however. Yeah, straight PDF. This is definitely not straight fan fiction. Let me see. Can you stitch textile book covers? And if yes, how do you do that? What do you mean? You know what? What time is it? 53. Okay. Do I have time to start stitching? Do y'all want to watch me stitch, or do you want me to skip to the cover? Vote in the chat. I can just show you, like, here's how you start stitching the book. Poking holes and stitching. See this? Stitch, cover. Man, two cover. Oh man, y'all making it even, stitch. Maybe I'll stitch like two signatures together. You can watch me poke the holes. But then we can do our like TV magic. God, I've gotten these out of order. Thank God I left my stickers. See, this is why it's very important to keep your little Post-it notes on them. That's my favorite. The little like Post-it flags are my favorite. I love them. Post-it flags, my beloved. Okay, order. Yes. Yeah, these are ones I got from like Kudo Sushi or whatever out of the little gashapon. They're not good for anything except putting signature numbers on them. What? Both stitch, a little bit of both. Okay, cool. Yeah, a little bit of both. I see you. I see you there. This is in fact a Lokius fig. Like, speaking of which, I published a fic like during a panel on Saturday that's vaguely related to the space theme of this con. Normally I would say don't at me, but I'm actually kind of proud of that one. There's images just jumping unbidden into my brain in my mother's living room, which is a very strange place to get fanfiction ideas, but whatever, I'm not going to argue with it. All right. Ow. Do you mean, oh yeah, see, sorry, I already forgot that there was a question. Yeah. And I don't know if there are any, like, I have not been reading the chat, so if there are any people in here from Renegade, hi, I love y'all. There is somebody in there who is known for embroidering covers. At least one person. I'm sure there's more. But yeah, they do these incredible, like, cross-stitch embroidered covers. Yeah, because you can make book cloth, and that's a whole different, like, discussion, is making book cloth. But yeah, I've seen people they'll do embroidery, and then, like, you can glue paper to the back of it, like usually tissue paper, some kind of thin paper, and then yeah, you can use that as book cloth to cover your book. And it looks really amazing when they do those. And yeah, if you go to the Tumblr, I think that's been posted a few times, people will reblog bindings that people do. Okay. Oh my god. So I have all the signatures together, and I hope I have not. I need to glue that in. I need to remember to glue that in. That guy. Once it's stitched. But you know what? I'm not going to finish this stitching. So I remember how to. Okay. So this is just for me. I put them down. No, I have to poke the holes first. Good lord. See? Scattering. I just use, okay. So some people have like a punching cradle, which is just like pieces of wood with a little gap in between, so you can poke the holes with the awl. I use a catalog. We used to use a phone book. I used to use a phone book in the studio where I used to do this, like for a job. So you don't have to have like the most fancy of tools. So yeah, I just have an awl, just pointy. About like a 4 or 5 pack or something. Oh, I could do this more. I don't know. I know then that's something people do. People will share stream crafting sometimes. Maybe I can just jump in the crafting chat if I'm not. No, I'm running a panel after this. Sorry, I can't. I made myself. I lost my last one. I could not find it yesterday when I was doing the sample. I made myself a hole punching jig, which is literally just like a piece of cardboard that I cut, and I marked out where the holes were on a different book that I had made, and made little notches. I do bind with tapes, which I'll show you in a minute. 24-hour live binding. Wow, if I could bind live 24 hours, I would probably just fall asleep on the table. But man, if I could make a living off just like people watching my hands as I bookbind, maybe that's a little bit questionable, but yeah, I just punched them. Very exciting. Hole punching. Don't tell me that. I'm not making a Twitch channel. Why? Mary's hands live. That's weird. Serpent's Nest press channel. I don't know. I do too many things that aren't this. But yeah, any other? Whew. There. Think. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, I do too much stuff. It's not this. You're like, what is this bitch's inconsistent ass schedule? Oh, I don't know about that. Didn't tell me about that. Why are you funky? What are you? Oh, it's the glued page. Bastard. Okay. So I glued it a little crooked. Okay. I don't know. If you have questions, feel free. I'm sure that there are things that I have not covered. It's an hour. Are we stitching them all at once, or do we split them into 2 or 3 parts? I don't know. How much? This is like ASMR. Like, can you hear my thing punching? Is it just that little crunch of page? I mean, I like that sound. Hold on, there was something that someone asked. Oh, you can hear the sound. Oh, okay. I mean, I like the sound. That's why. If we stitching it all at once, or putting in 2 or 3 parts. I stitched it all at once, and it kind of cramps my hands a little bit. But so yeah, another thing. Some people will use like a sewing cradle or a sewing frame. That's what it's called. It's called a sewing frame. It stretches the tapes out. I don't have one, and I never got used to using one, so I just brace it in my hand and give myself cramps. Whatever. I'm not binding on like an industrial scale, so it's fine. I can like rest between. It's not like a business. I'm not having to like meet a quota or something. Paper crunch, yes. It's like when I started playing Minecraft. I literally I don't anymore. It's been a while. I just have too many other things I'm doing. But I literally started playing Minecraft because I love the sound it makes when you pick up all the little blocks. Like the blah 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 blah. I love that. I mean, okay, they're trying to convince me. I'm listening. I'm not convinced. I'm not completely convinced, but we'll see. I'm also very much like the don't notice me kind of person, so do not perceive me. As long as y'all are cool with like never seeing who I am. Oh, why are there 14 signatures? Book is long. Oh my god. Can I glue a cover in 20 minutes? That's the question. Where the hell is it? Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed that I lost my other punching jig because I had, well, this is cut to, I think 5.5 by 8.5. So a statement size sheet of paper. That's what it was from the last pack of paper that I bought. I just used the little backing board and I cut little notches on one side for doing my half letter books and little notches on the other side for doing my quarter letter books. Okay, good Lord, done. Goodbye. Go in there. Go in the press. Just hang out. Press is full of things. Oh, jeez. What number is that? Okay, it's got all the holes in it. Good lord. What do I wet? How long on average does it take to finish making one of these, like before adding to completion? It really depends on how invested I am in finishing. These, I think there's 2 of hers. Yes, these 2 are some of like the earliest ones that I started. I think I started these in April of 2021, and I just finished them like last month. Just because I have too many things and my work situation exploded last year around the same time. But if I'm really motivated, the very small ones, I said, took a couple hours from like downloading the pic to printing it out and stitching it. These big ones, they do have to sit overnight. So I could probably make one in a day if I needed to. Preferably 2. I'd need 2 if I was also doing the typesetting, unless it was something really simple. 1 or 2 days. That's my answer. That's how fast I could do it. Usually, I take about a week or so. Now that I can print reliably from home, if I'm not trying to print color and fighting with that, yeah. Oh my God. Shh. Stop telling me to stream. Oh, all right. I'm gonna stitch this crap together. All right. Okay. How much time do I have? Time for this. Okay. Okay. Just throwing things over there. Where's my needle? Oh. Sorry. Just look. As soon as you try and touch thread in any sort of haste, it will immediately tangle. Okay. So, yes, the stitching time. Okay, so I use linen thread. I have bought thread from a couple places. I believe I got this thread from Colophon Book Arts. I think it's like one person shop. This thread lasts forever. This is what I used. I don't know, can you even see it? Codes Fiber number 35, 100% linen thread. It's a big spool. Like, it will last me for a long time. I also use beeswax to wax the thread to keep the fibers going in the same order and to make it a little bit stronger, and it will catch less. So what I do is I flip it all over so the last signature is on the top. Obviously, you don't have to do this. And see, I tend to like, thank you. I will glue in that page when I'm done stitching because I don't want it flopping around. Okay. So I use a curved needle. I didn't used to use a curved needle, but it is extremely helpful for when you're doing like the kettle stitch, which I'll explain in a minute. So I do pre-poke the holes again once I've already stitched them, or I've already poked them with the awl, so there's less resistance, but I will pre-poke the holes because I have to go this way through the spine. And if the pages are all sliding around and the hole is really small, it's difficult to do that. Okay. Sure, the ASMR is improved by me not making panicked noises. But yeah, any other passing thoughts or questions? Or just me babbling about this? You can ask me dumb shit about what, I don't know. I know y'all have questions, even if it's just about like the shit that's on my desk. I usually will listen to music while I'm doing this. Is beeswax better than that Bead Magic silicone putty stick? I have never used that. I don't know what that is. Beeswax smells nice. And it, like, you can get it really cheap if you know anyone that like has bees, or I mean, you can buy these. I think I may have bought this from Burnley and Trowbridge. It's obviously not the only place you can get it. I bought a block of it from the Ren Fair also. You can just get them around. If you go to like craft shows, I mean, you can go to like the craft store and buy some. But if there's any kind of like farmer's market near you, or like crafting things, like people have bees, people sell honey, you can probably ask them for beeswax. Like they've just got it around. And it smells nice. I just really like the way beeswax smells. I'll attempt to do this without holding it up to my face because my vision sucks. Yes, sewing beeswax is very cheap. And you don't need very much of it. Like all the books that I've done, I've found with this. And I think I have also used this for sewing. And you can squish it back into place if it starts to have too many like gouges in it or whatever. See, I keep putting it in my face. I would need some spectacles through this part. Yeah, see, that's why I keep like. Fortunately, I have my craft light. I like this new setup. I actually just finished my new desk setup because I moved all my crafting stuff around. And I'm kind of digging it. Okay. Now I'm going to pull on these. And okay, I'll explain what I'm doing in a minute. Just pull on them so they're snug. Tie a couple knots. Sure, there's specific knots, but I don't care. It's going to get glued. Just don't want it to flop around. Okay. So yeah, so this is, at this point, for a book that's thick. For a book that's thin, I would not bother with it. Where are those? I have, okay. So if I'm doing a quarter letter size book, I generally only do kettle stitch, which is what this is. It's like a little knot. I guess you're running the threads back and forth, and it's like a little knot that grabs it and hooks it to the signature that's below it. I don't use tapes on these because they're small and it's not like they're gonna risk falling apart. This is just some tape. It's linen tape. And I just cut an amount. This is what will reinforce the spine, and it will help it have extra attachment to the covers. And man, I'm not gonna have enough time to show you all the whole covers. When is the next panel? How much can I go over? Let me look. Oh, not very much. Maybe 30 minutes. Let's do 30 minutes. Sorry, I'm allowed to make these choices. Unless someone hassles me and tells me no. Yeah, you really. I love hand sewing, so I think this would be my favorite part. Yeah, it's pretty soothing. It's pretty relaxing. You may poke yourself. You may poke yourself, and I think that maybe that's one of our badges also, is blood on it. Let me see. I would pull so hard I would tear something. Yeah, you kind of have to really get a handle. You have to get a feel for the tension. Oh, see, I'm starting too early. I forgot because I cut these and I left them. All right, so I insert tapes like this. So I just lift up the threads a little bit and I just jam the tapes under there. So I reinforce the hell out of my books. Like, you don't have to use these many stitchings and tapes, but I think it looks nice, so I do it. Blood sacrifice, yeah. I know I have blood on myself. Like, I use a scalpel rather than like an X-Acto knife, so definitely, definitely have to be careful. I don't know where the tip of my. Okay, so yeah, so I put the tapes in like that, and then yeah. Okay, yeah, that's why I started using the curved. Nope, nope. Gotta watch what I'm doing. Just about to have the thread go around the other side, like a fool. Okay, yeah, so I do this French stitch, yeah, freaking Hank Hill noises, with the tapes, which is just, it links, it's a linking stitch that just adds an extra kind of place for the book to not fall apart. I'm getting like a notification. What is that about? Shh, I can do what I want. Was that before or after I told I was going to take extra time because I can? But for real, I don't want to impinge on the next person. So that's all. Yeah. See, this is why this it's just this me getting tangled, doing dumb crap, trying not to like pull it. Okay, so I get to the end and then I pull straight along with the book, because if you pull at an angle like this, it will start to cut through. So I pull straight with the spine. And then this is the, see, I always do this end wrong, doing the kettle stitch at the end, which is just like a little knot that keeps the signature together. And I will do that each time I get to the end, back and forth. Oh, roommate, close the door. Okay. Yeah, so that's that. It would be like an hour more of this back and forth. So we're gonna skip. We're gonna do like the TV magic time skip. I'll finish sewing this at a future time. Go up there. Okay, so skipping forward. So basically what I would do is I would finish all that sewing. I would throw it in the press for a couple hours maybe, which will press all the folds down further to kind of compress it all. I will put this on top so I don't lose it. We'll kind of compress it a little bit more, because then once I've got everything tape, you get the tape stuck to the actual pages. Oh, well, it's not tape. It's fabric tape. Sorry, I made that clear. Yeah, it's fabric tape, so it's kind of like ribbon. It's not sticky. This I bought. I think I bought this from Brilliant Shortbridge because I was going to use it. You can use it in all kinds of stuff like corsetry, whatever. This is not bias tape. It's not twill tape. Like, it's not stretchy. You can use whatever. Like, you could use ribbon. You could use pieces of fabric. It literally doesn't matter. You don't even have to use it at all. I just have it and like using it. So here's my press. Here's one of my presses. So this is it's like a combination standing, lying press, nipping press. It can do different things. What I'm having it do right now is I'm having it compress my pages together. So this is the one that I printed before. This is from Affordable Binding Equipment. It's affordable. I suppose if $1,000 would not be affordable, like, it's still quite expensive. It's the sort of thing you would save up for, or like ask for like Christmas or whatever, holiday, birthday present. I just use that, and I use it for gluing spines. So I'll show you. Flipped it, throw it on the floor. It's fine. Okay, so this is the book that I did, the other version that I did yesterday. And I just, oh hell, it's fine, you won't see that. I picked just some plain black end sheets because I'm making it kind of like, it's about art, about an art thief. So I'm gonna make the cover kind of like this. I'm gonna put like a frame on it. Spoilers. But yeah, just some end sheets. I glued them on just by the edge. It's called tipping. You just glue the very, very edge of the paper against the front and the back. I do this after I sew the tapes on. So you can see where the tapes are sticking out, and you can see where it's sewn, and it makes those like raised up there. Yeah, you can press by sitting on them. Well, you can also stack up like any other books that you have, or like anything vaguely heavy. Just put like a cutting board in between it. What I actually did was I went to Daiso and I bought like these cheap cutting boards just to have a smooth surface, or just, I don't know, particle board, anything that's cheap, whatever. Yeah, these I use them as pressing boards. They were like $3 or something. Yeah, you can go to the dollar store and get a cutting board, and that will keep whatever the texture of thing you're pressing with. So yeah, so you can put that and then put any number, like bricks, textbooks, furniture, whatever, to press in. Daiso has these. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess don't even get me started on different like locations of Daiso, but I did get those from Daiso. Yeah. You can probably get them from any like Dollar General, dollar store, any whatever, grocery store, Amazon, whatever floats your boat. Like, yes, you can use heavy books things. You can use vice clamps. Yep. Yeah, $3, right? I mean, you could just grab it from the kitchen, just put some wax paper on it, like whatever. Yeah. So I mean, you don't have to get it from there. You can get it from wherever. Yeah. So here's, and I did see I tipped it in front of my blank page that I left. Yeah. So gotta remember what the hell I'm doing. Okay. So here's where cutting happens. I'm just gonna like go through this and like knock on the wall when it's like too much time if I don't catch it. Okay. Damn it. Okay, so I'm gonna have to take these out. I don't really need them anymore. I had also reused these from an earlier book because they were sitting on top of my press. But I've kind of jumbled them up so they're kind of messy now. So what I'm gonna do is I cut the end sheets to be larger than my book. I don't want them to be the same size because then if I put them in the wrong place, then there's like a gap. Just like vaguely hoping that I did all this right. Yeah, so I'll trim. I would rather trim it down than have it be too small. And I did just buy like a big sheet of paper. I think I may have bought it from Hollanders. You can buy gift paper. You can buy scrapbook paper. There's lots of different kind of paper that people use. That's a whole thing. Yeah, if there are any like fancy gift wrapping stores near you, like the kind of fancy places where like they wrap everything for you, like with like color coordinated ribbons and stuff, like bougie kind of places, you can generally buy paper from them and pretend that you're wrapping gifts on your own bougie self, but you're really just going to put it around porn and fan fiction. So yeah, just trimming that. And yeah, it was a big sheet that I bought and I trimmed down. Like I folded it. I'm just lining up the ruler, and I like these metal rulers. Just line it up with the edge. Oh, what the hell? Too aggressive of cutting. Shh. Shh. What the hell? Is there glue on it, maybe? Wow. How about we don't do whatever what are you doing? Oh, it's just getting snagged. Fine. Don't sass me. Yeah, then we get into the talking to yourself portion of the bookmaking. I'm trying really hard not to put my face in front of the camera, but if you see my face, no, you didn't. Okay, one more. Then I will tell you about the bees, which is a weird thing. So I'm going to trim this down to the size of the text block, which is what all these things are together, called the text block. Is my knife just dull? Maybe I need a new blade. And the thing about, I use a scalpel because I can just replace the blade whenever I chip it on something or whatever. Yeah, no craft is complete if you didn't talk to yourself in the process. Absolutely. I mean, mainly I don't talk to myself. I mainly know it's in my head. That's absolutely what it is. Okay, so this is what is called the bee's knees. I don't know where it came from. My instructor who taught me how to do this told me it was called the bee's knees, I guess, and she said it was like because it's like the width of a bee's knee, which whatever. But on the outside of the end sheet, what you're gonna want to do is you trim off like a little bitty sliver, which makes it just like fit more nicely, like a little tiny sliver. It just makes it line up more nicely when you're putting the cover on. Because sometimes you don't want your paper sticking out past the cover, and I don't think it would do that, but I don't know. But it's always worked for me, so I just keep doing it. Oh yeah, and it makes that nice little squiggle. Love that little squiggle. Yes. Yeah, don't forget the swearing. Well, see, no, that was when I was trying to print. There's always cursing involved, at least in my head. Okay, I'm hoping all these pages. See, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna be like, all right, time to read my book, and it's gonna be like some typo. So generally, what I try and do is when I have finished my PDF, when I think I'm done, I'll move this whole thing to my review folder. I have like a series of folders that I go through to show myself what stage of typesetting they're in. I will go to, I will move it to that folder. And then when I'm feeling like reading a fan fiction, I'll like open it and just flip through it and just read it. And then that's when I'll catch like, oh shit, some stuff is misspelled, or oh, this doesn't have a page number. And I will open up a little notepad on my phone and I will make a note of what page it is and then go back and fix it later. Of course, I'm never going to catch everything, but it'll catch a few things. And I don't always do that, but it depends on how long it takes me to do the book. Oh yeah. Yeah, thanks for coming. Yeah, if you're doing something else, that's totally cool. Okay, this is also a little jig that I made for myself. I think I made this after I worked there, but it's based on one that I had when I was there. It is, I don't remember, it doesn't matter how long it is specifically, but it's to mark like 20 millimeters, 20 millimeter square, and then 3 and 6 millimeters. And that just helps. And of course, see, I'm like using inches and millimeters, whatever. Doesn't matter, you can combine them. That's probably like what, like a 16th? No, an eighth and a quarter of an inch. Close enough. Doesn't matter. Like as long as you're sort of vaguely consistent. And I mean, books are physical objects. You're gonna make it funky. So what I'm gonna do is this fabric I glued over the back. There's a bunch of different words for it. I was taught super. It can be crash or mull. What I'm using right now is really just some muslin that I cut up. Some people use. You can buy it It's just like a loosely woven cloth that just adds extra support for your glue, and keeps all your pages together. So once you've glued it, once you've sewed everything, you've sewn the signatures together, but when you open it, you'll still be able to see between them. But so gluing it will actually like stick them together, so you're not going to see a gap. Yeah, this just gives it extra support, and this is actually what's going to hold it, as well as the Enchi is what's going to hold it to the cover. And yeah, you can definitely, yeah, thanks for coming. And you can definitely, yeah, you can make blank books. That's fine, and that's how you can really play around with different kinds of papers that you want to use. But yeah, I'm just gonna be like digging around here for like maybe 30 more minutes. If you want to stick around, like you don't have to. That's fine. You can. There's other panels going on. But since I'm here now you've got me here. Okay, so what I'm doing is just kind of going 6-ish millimeters out from the spine, and that's where I'm going to put my my cover board. So I'll have a hinge. So you don't want to put the board right up on the spine, because then when it opens, it won't have any kind of room to flex. You want to have this nice crease. So I've put it a little bit inset from my spine. Yes, thank you all for coming. Okay, and this is also the time in which I will make sure what the top and the bottom of the book is. So this is the top. This is the top, mark the top. This is the front of the book. I will mark F for front and B for bottom. Yeah. And while I'm here, I will mark. You know what? I don't mark top. I don't know why I did that. I mark head. It's head. Head of the book. Whatever. You know, it's as long as you know. That's what it is. See, I'm confusing myself already. It's head and foot of the book. See, whatever. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Something. Something. Yes. Thank you for coming. Yeah, and absolutely feel free to go check out the Discord, the Twitter, or the Tumblr for Renegade. Look at my Instagram, I suppose, if you have any questions. Where is my cover? Did I not pull it? Nope, sure didn't. Sure did not. Okay. I'm gonna do the same thing. I actually had these cut, but I'm gonna have to cut them again because I mismeasured because I'm a fool. Yeah, I measure 3 millimeters out. So I line up my board with the line that I just drew. And I want a gap of 3 millimeters all the way around it. Can't see that. And you know, it may not be even, just because sometimes books are not even. I could have glued it a little crooked. I could have sewn it a little crooked. Whatever. Whatever. Also, before I move it anywhere, so this will be H, back inside, tail. That's it. See? HBIT. Head, back, outside, tail. Good. See, I already forgetting words. It's fine. As long as I know front and back. Okay, so I'm going to need to trim this. I will just mark it. And because I'm using a scalpel, it will take like 90 years to do this. Maybe not. I'm almost through. Yeah. Cool. Some of y'all are still here. That's fine. If anyone has any questions, I can still. Listen to my board cutting. All right. Cover time. And I don't always do this the same way every time because I'm a human being and I forget. As long as the dimensions are the same, it doesn't matter. Oh yeah, for sure. That is definitely different. Whatever, close enough. Almost did it. Almost did it, y'all. Okay. Head, front, inside, or outside tail. Oops. No, cut on the line. Okay, now I've got the cover. Okay. Put it on there. Yeah, that looks kind of like a. What did I do? Oh, I didn't trim that. It's fine. It's fine. It's always something. Okay. Try that again. Back. Side tail. Yep. Yep. Okay, that's much better. Okay. Okay. Oh, there is one thing I forgot to do. Where did I put my headband? I would glue on headbands. I don't sew them. So like no one has said anything. So I'm like, is anyone watching still? That's really sad. Nope, that's too dry. But holding it close to my face, I don't even do that. Stay on there. Okay. Why did I touch glue? I don't know. I see you. I see you. Yeah, I'm not gonna get to make this cover, but oh, wait, what do I got? Do I have fake leather in here? Yes. Okay. Okay, so I should have another piece of this. So this is my fake leather. It's paper. It's actually paper with like this leather texture on it, which I think looks really nice. Because we're being fancy here. This book about fancy people. Y'all are too quiet. Okay. I need to make sure this is tall enough. Oh, we're kind of close. Kind of close, but yeah, we're gonna do it. Cool. Whatever. Trying to give myself this 20mm gap around it for the foldovers. Just to know how much I need. I'll fold it over the spine. I'll take this and kind of mark it for myself so I know where the edges are. And then I will kind of crease this so I know where the edges. Okay. Okay. This will maybe become a spine for something else. I reuse all these scraps. Okay. Let me just sketch myself a line there. Okay. What am I forgetting? I am not going to have time to glue this. Yeah, I'm not going to have time to glue this, but I do need to make a spine piece, so I'm going to do that. I have some used watercolor paper, some kind of paper that I got, some kind of like sturdy paper that I got from somebody at Renegade actually. When they gave me some other paper, they just kind of threw it in there. So I'm going to make myself a piece to go over the spine to do some reinforcing on the cover to make it curve really nicely. Because if I don't put anything, it's going to kind of crinkle because it is paper, and it'll give it a little bit more heft. Just like pinch it. It's the most doing things by feel is completely fine. And I'm going to want it to be as long as the cover. So it's not, because I've cut it too short and it's a pain in the butt. You want the spine to be the same height as the rest of your cover. So this will be my spine piece. And yeah, I think that's it for right now. Yeah, I'm not going to have time because once you start gluing on the cover, you have like a really short time limit because of the glue that I'm using, which is this PVA. I specifically, I mean, there's other kinds you can get like Jade. Those are the brands. Do not order them in the winter. They will freeze and the glue will be ruined. It will just become like hard and crack and suck. This kind specifically, like Line Co has two different brands or two different types, I guess. But this one specifically is flexible. So that's one that I use. I pour it into like a little Tupperware like this, or a jar. I have a couple jars, and it just keeps like a small amount. It's a bigger opening for the brush that I'm going to use. I just use like a wider brush and it's something that I can like smush Um, it's a bigger opening, so I can not be super careful when I get in there. But yeah, so once I've got this, I'm going to lay down some paper, um, glue it like out from the center, and then there's this whole careful process of like laying this down, flipping it over, making so that the cardboard is the only part that sticks, while trying to not just cover your hands in glue. And then you'll trim the corners and fold it down. But I'm not going to do that because I need to free the room up for the next person. And if I start now, it's going to be the next, like, I'm definitely going to spill glue on myself or something, just because that's what would happen. So, yeah, I guess thanks for watching, y'all that are still sticking around silently watching me. Yeah, that's what it's. See, this is what it's going to be like. If y'all can just need to stream, then no one is going to say anything, and it's just going to be like weirdly looking at me. But yes, when I'm finished with this, I don't know if I'll finish it this weekend, maybe a couple weeks before I finish it because I have some other stuff coming up. But yeah, when I'm finished with this, I will take photos and I will put it on my Instagram. I will be mailing the copy to the artist or to the author who I don't know may or may not still be in the chat if they were here. But yes, when this is done, I will post it. And I have a couple more that I meant to um, post. I just haven't yet for whatever reason. But yeah, I'll be posting some more stuff. So if y'all want to take a look, but yeah, by all means, if you want to join the Renegade Bindery Discord, they're super nice and always willing to share information. But yeah, thanks for coming, y'all. Thanks for watching me and asking questions.